Lee Cheol-soo faced the immense beast serpent with an unanticipated thrill coursing through him. This encounter was no mere battle. It was a test, a crucible that might awaken dormant power within him. If he could overcome this monstrous trial, he knew it would not only invigorate his vitality, but might also unlock the elusive techniques of the gongdong, ancient knowledge he vaguely recalled from fragments of his past life. Meanwhile, Jinhui, spotting his junior ensnared in the serpent's relentless ambush, felt a surge of urgency. Despite the poison coursing through Lee Cheol-soo's veins, his tenacity remained, his stance unwavering against the towering beast. Jinhui knew that time was slipping away, and the junior's life was hanging by a thread. With fierce determination, he charged forward, his blade aimed at the serpent's thick, scaly torso. But as his sword struck, his eyes widened in shock. The blade barely left a scratch. The creature's scales were tougher than he had anticipated, a near-impenetrable armor that rendered his attack useless. The serpent retaliated with a vicious sweep of its massive tail, sending Jinhui hurtling through the air, the force of the blow leaving him disoriented. Watching his comrade momentarily shaken, Lee Cheol-soo's thoughts sharpened. This was no time for hesitation or panic, even in the face of such overwhelming odds. In a swift, calculated move, he grabbed a jagged fragment of wood from the debris scattered around them and drove it into one of the serpent's eyes. His aim was true, and as the beast recoiled, he leaped back, creating a cautious distance between himself and the enraged creature. Jinhui's gaze flickered with concern as he looked over at Lee Cheol-soo, searching for any sign of injury. Relief washed over him upon seeing his junior standing strong, though the intensity of the battle weighed heavily between them. Both knew they were ensnared within the serpent's calculated trap, its sheer size and speed making every move perilous. Lee Cheol-soo's mind was racing. He'd observed the beast's tough, unyielding torso, a fortress of scales that their blades could hardly pierce. The serpent's defenses were formidable, thwarting their every strike, and even Jinhui's most powerful blow had barely left a mark. This creature demanded a far more lethal strategy. They would need a decisive strike, perhaps a single fatal blow, to bring it down. Yet, the serpent's swift, unpredictable attacks left little room for error, its relentless movements allowing no moment of vulnerability. Jinhui's frustration simmered beneath his calm resolve, his skill and speed unable to keep pace with the serpent's ferocity. Without a clear opening, each attempt seemed destined to fail. He glanced toward Lee Cheol-soo, seeking both insight and guidance, the weight of their predicament pressing down on them both as they silently weighed their next move, knowing that hesitation could prove fatal. Lee Cheol-soo weighed the situation with measured resolve. He understood why Jinhui struggled. Facing a demon beast like this serpent demanded strength that his senior had yet to fully attain. Jinhui, still growing into his potential, faced overwhelming odds, and with the ever-present danger of the serpent's venom, a single misstep could seal both their fates. Despite the poison circulating through his own veins, Lee Cheol-soo's inherited abilities from a past life afforded him a resilience his senior lacked. He could bear the weight of the poison, at least long enough to create a critical opening. But if Jinhui, a less seasoned and somewhat unprepared fighter, were to be struck by the creature's venom as well, escape would be impossible. A plan took shape in Lee Cheol-soo's mind, a strategy that demanded precision and timing. He quickly formulated the steps, knowing Jinhui would need to capitalize on the exact moment he created. As he laid out his instructions, he saw the surprise in Jinhui's eyes. His senior was taken aback, questioning how Lee Cheol-soo could push himself to such extremes in his weakened condition. Lee Cheol-soo sprang into action, closing the distance between himself and the beast with a fierce, unyielding resolve. Every second was precious. Hesitation could mean death. His eyes tracked the serpent's movements, noting the subtle vulnerabilities on its right side, a weakness concealed beneath layers of tough scales. No demon was without its flaws, and Lee Cheol-soo was prepared to exploit this one. Moving swiftly, he tore a strip of fabric from his clothing and, with deft precision, flung it around the beast's head, tangling it just enough to divert the serpent's attention. In the midst of the creature's confusion, an opening appeared. This was the moment he had created for his senior, a fleeting chance that required perfect timing. As the signal reached him, Jinhui seized the opportunity without hesitation. He launched himself into the air, his sword raised, poised for the decisive strike. Channeling all his strength, he executed a basic slash, aiming directly for the serpent's neck. His blade met its mark with a swift, powerful arc, slicing cleanly through. In an instant, the serpent's head fell, severed by the relentless force of Jinhui's strike, and the enormous body collapsed, finally defeated. Panting heavily, Jinhui stood over the fallen serpent, his heart still racing as he took in the aftermath. They had done it. The creature's neck had indeed been its weak point, and the swift decapitation confirmed the victory. Yet, as he replayed the fight in his mind, a realization struck him, a question lingering in his thoughts. Had Lee Cheol-soo anticipated this all along? Had his junior subtly guided him into position, setting him up for the decisive blow? Turning to find his comrade, Jinhui's moment of relief was shattered. There, sprawled on the ground, was Lee Cheol-soo, his body motionless. Panic surged through him, and he shouted in alarm, his voice trembling as he rushed to his side. Meanwhile, Lee Cheol-soo lay still, feeling the venom coursing through his veins, its intensity burning him from within. The ancient herbalists were right. The serpent's poison held potent yang energy, a force as fierce as fire itself. Yet, despite the pain, a hint of satisfaction filled him. With his superior energy control technique, he could harness this poison, expelling its harmful effects and retaining only the beneficial energy it carried. It was a risky process, but one he believed he could master. As his breathing slowed, Lee Cheol-soo silently reassured himself. Soon, he would recover, stronger than before, much to Jinhui's inevitable relief. Jinhui's heart pounded with a heavy, sickening regret as he knelt beside his fallen comrade. The sight of Lee Cheol-soo, unmoving and pale, filled him with a torrent of guilt. His junior had pushed himself beyond his limits, defying the effects of venom and exhaustion, all to create the opening that had led them to victory. And now, Jinhui's relief was overshadowed by the raw fear of loss. Desperation took hold of him. He couldn't bear to let Lee Cheol-soo slip away, not when he had sacrificed so much. Driven by the need to save him, Jinhui leaned over and pressed his lips to the wound on Lee Cheol-soo's neck, attempting to draw out the serpent's venom. Each moment felt like an eternity as he worked, his mind racing with the thought that his own actions might be the last line of defense against the poison seeping into his junior's veins. Jinhui was not ready to lose him. Not like this, not after everything they had endured together. A strange sensation tugged Lee Cheol-soo back to consciousness, a dull throbbing on his neck drawing his focus. Slowly opening his eyes, he found himself in an awkward predicament. His senior, Jinhui, was attempting to draw out the poison by sucking at the wound, a look of fierce concentration on his face. Lee Cheol-soo's initial impulse was to stop him, but his body remained heavy and unresponsive, weakened by the venom still coursing through him. Internally, Lee Cheol-soo let out a silent groan, his thoughts caught between gratitude and exasperation. Though Jinhui's intentions were well-meaning, the method was undeniably uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Jinhui misread the expression on his junior's face, mistaking it for pain. With renewed urgency, he doubled down on his efforts, determined to spare Lee Cheol-soo any suffering. As Jinhui assessed Lee Cheol-soo's condition, relief washed over him. The pulse beneath his fingers felt steady again, a small but significant victory in the midst of chaos. However, another thought emerged unbidden. He couldn't shake the strange idea of consuming the meat of the demon serpent. It was an unsettling first for him, a concept he had never imagined he would entertain. Lee Cheol-soo, regaining some strength, considered the prospect with a pragmatic outlook. Depending on the species, he mused, snake meat could be highly nutritious and beneficial for vitality if cooked properly. He could almost hear his master's approving words echoing in his mind, imagining the satisfaction that would accompany such a meal. Yet, irritation crept into Lee Cheol-soo's tone as he refocused on the task at hand. There was no time to dwell on thoughts of feasting, not while they still had work to do. Their immediate priority lay in tracking the traces left by the viper, leading them back to its source. As they navigated the rugged terrain, Jinhui and Lee Cheol-soo arrived at the base of a steep cliff, both halting in their tracks. Jinhui's voice broke the silence, filled with a mixture of uncertainty and anticipation, as he questioned whether they had reached the end of the serpent's trail. Lee Cheol-soo's gaze drifted upward, where the cliff met the sky. His eyes narrowed, focusing on a dark mouth of a cave nestled high among the rocks. The cave seemed to beckon them, a mysterious threshold to whatever lay beyond. As Jinhui's senses heightened, he remarked on the powerful spiritual energy radiating from the cave's entrance. The aura was undeniable, a tangible force that sent shivers down his spine. Lee Cheol-soo took a moment to reflect on Jinhui's keen perception, impressed by his senior's instincts. The intensity of the energy suggested that Jinhui's intuition was sharper than he had previously recognized. It was clear that in his past life, Jinhui must have relied on this very instinct, a guiding force that led him to this moment and this place. The discovery sparked a sense of urgency within Lee Cheol-soo. They had to venture forward, for the source of this energy could hold the answers they sought. As they stepped inside the cave, the air shifted around Jinhui and Lee Cheol-soo, thick with an ancient energy that pulsed through the stone walls. Jinhui's eyes widened in wonder, taking in the breathtaking sight before him. Stalactites hung like delicate chandeliers from the ceiling, glistening in the dim light that filtered through the crevices. The cavern opened up into a vast expanse, echoing with the sound of dripping water and an otherworldly hum that seemed to resonate deep within their souls. Overwhelmed by the beauty and mystery of the place, Jinhui felt a surge of excitement. He had never imagined such a hidden gem existed within Gongdong Mountain. The thought struck him with electrifying clarity. Could this be the legendary Gwanxiang Danheol, spoken of in hushed tones among the elders? Lee Cheol-soo, equally awed but composed, surveyed the surroundings with a knowing gaze. The atmosphere brimming with potent spiritual energy confirmed the possibility. A wave of realization washed over Lee Cheol-soo. Gwanxiang Danheol, a hallowed ground where the ancestors of the Gongdong cultivated their Tao, stood before him. It was a place steeped in history and power, a sanctuary imbued with the essence of those who had come before. He pondered the implications. The viper that had attacked them must have ingested a spiritual pill from this very site, enhancing its own strength beyond natural limits. Images of ancient warriors flashed through his mind, and he recalled the tales of Wagukja, the legendary master of the Hanyuan sword. 300 years ago, he had ascended to immortality within these very walls, his spirit forever woven into the fabric of this sacred place. The thought ignited a spark of excitement in Lee Cheol-soo's chest. If this truly was Gwanxiang Danheol, it could be teeming with elixirs and treasures meant to restore vitality and inner power. As they explored the depths of the cave, Jinhui's voice broke the reverent silence, drawing Lee Cheol-soo's attention to a cluster of scattered pills strewn across the ground. The sight ignited a spark of curiosity in them both. Lee Cheol-soo crouched down, examining the remnants with keen eyes. The container that had once held the spiritual pills lay shattered nearby, its shards glinting dully in the low light. It became evident to him that the viper had consumed these very pills, absorbing their potent energy and transforming into the formidable demon creature they had encountered. As they ventured deeper into the cave, the dim light illuminated more than just the ancient stone walls. It revealed treasures of knowledge long forgotten. Jinhui's gaze fell upon a collection of weathered books piled haphazardly on a stone pedestal, and his heart raced with excitement. With trembling hands, he picked one up, brushing off layers of dust to reveal the title. As he scanned the covers, his eyes widened in astonishment at the names. The 3-in True Technique, 7-Kill Sword, the Heavenly Mystery Sword, Fortune's Flow, Great Power of the Demon Slayer, Ganyang's Earth, and Ganyam's Earth. Each title was a piece of history, a relic of the martial arts that had once flourished within the Gongdong. Recognition dawned on him, each title a thread connecting him to the legends of the past. The realization struck him with the force of a lightning bolt. These were the lost martial arts of Gongdong, thought to be forever vanished. He marveled at the possibility that this cave had served as a training ground for the masters of ancient times, a sacred space where they honed their skills and passed down their wisdom. As he stood there, the weight of history pressed upon him, filling him with awe and disbelief. Could this truly be the legendary Gwanxiang Danheol? Lee Cheol-soo approached his senior. An eager anticipation filled the air. Jinhui's face radiated with exhilaration as he shared his discovery, his eyes shining with the thrill of unearthing a fragment of their sect's lost martial arts. The weight of their find was not lost on either of them. It felt like a golden opportunity to revive the legacy that had been thought to be lost to time. He felt a surge of hope and pride at Jinhui's discovery. The atmosphere was charged with possibility, the air thick with the scent of ancient secrets waiting to be uncovered. He sensed that the cave held more than just the remnants of the past. It was a place of power and potential, perhaps even more hidden chambers yet to be explored. With a resolute nod, Lee Cheol-soo decided to venture further into the cave, driven by the promise of new knowledge and the thrill of discovery. Jinhui, fueled by his own excitement, set off in a different direction, each of them embracing the adventure that lay ahead. With the knowledge of the cave's hidden secrets coursing through him, Lee Cheol-soo felt a rush of excitement surge within. He could hardly contain his eagerness as he scanned the surroundings, his mind racing with possibilities. The urgency of the moment was palpable. There was no time to waste. He was determined to find the elixirs before Jinhui could even get a whiff of them. The thought of those powerful elixirs spurred him on, igniting a fierce ambition within. Each moment counted, and he envisioned the rewards that awaited him. The elixirs could restore his vitality and amplify his powers, enabling him to rise above his current struggles. The anticipation of consuming them, even a second sooner than Jinhui, filled him with a fervent desire to secure his future. Lee Cheol-soo's mind raced with images of liberation from his senior's incessant teasing and harassment. He envisioned a life free from the shame of past humiliations, one where he could finally reclaim his dignity. The prospect of stepping closer to his dream of becoming the harem king fueled his determination, a vision that shimmered just within reach.